My brothers and sisters, the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Some Greeks who had come to worship at the Passover feast in Jerusalem came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida in Galilee, and they asked him, "Sir, we would like to see Jesus." Philip went and told Andrew. Then Andrew and Philip went and told Jesus. Jesus answered them, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. I solemnly say to you, unless the grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains just a grain of wheat. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. Whoever loves his life loses it, and whoever hates his life in this world preserves it for eternal life. Whoever serves me must follow me, and where I am, there also will my servant be. The Father will honor whoever serves me. I am troubled now. Yet what should I say? Father, save me from this hour? But it was for this purpose that I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name." Then a voice came from heaven, "I have glorified it and will glorify it again." The crowd there heard the noise and thought it was thunder. Others said, "No, an angel has spoken to him." But Jesus said, "This voice did not come for my sake, but for yours. Now is the time of judgment on this world. Now the ruler of this world will be driven out. And when I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw everyone to myself." He said this, indicating what kind of death he would die. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Friends, I have the good pleasure of introducing our guest speaker, Bob Bennett. He has spent his entire life in service to others. His career was highlighted by his years of service as the chairman of the New York State Board of Regents. The regents, as you may know, are the ones who decide who gets to practice medicine and who gets to practice law in the state of New York, among other things. And when he stepped down from that position, I think he became even busier because he's involved in many things. I sit with him on the Diocesan Board of Catholic Education, where he's a tireless advocate for the underprivileged, the handicapped, the slow learners, anyone who is in any way challenged, I say. Bob is there speaking up for them. So I want to give a warm welcome to Bob Bennett. This is a very big book here.
Thank you so much, Father Tom, and thank all of you. This is my sixth Mass since yesterday. My co-chairs of the campaign are my son and daughter, Maureen and Andrew, two different generations, same parents. Maureen is speaking at another parish, Andrew is at another parish as well. And Maureen will meet me in a couple hours downtown when we will see what the first week of the appeal looks like in terms of returns. Equally important, they've engaged their own children. Maureen has two teenage daughters, one at Sacred Heart and one at St. Benedict's, and they too are engaged in the campaign, and they had some pretty good questions about asking people to make a contribution to Catholic Charities, and they said, "Papa, what should we be prepared to do, and what questions might arise?" I said, "Well, it depends on how you ask them. You have to have great respect and understand that this is a charitable contribution. Nobody's requiring it, really. But you have to be prepared to explain where the money goes. Most donors really want to know that, and they should know that. And so you should be prepared to explain the services of Catholic Charities that are available in all of Western New York, many, many of them in Erie County and Niagara County, and all of them having to do with various needs of individuals of all ages and all faiths, and all kinds of challenges facing their lives. And then you might want to say that there are 70 different programs and 61 sites, and that Catholic Charities is really a network of services, so it has at least 61 doors. And so if you go in one door seeking help and they can't help you, then they will not let you go. They'll send you to the next door or the next door. And it won't end until you are satisfied and they know that you're better off or that you're happier. I use that term carefully because I have occasion now to be working with the County Social Services Department on creating a school, a special school, for foster children. And there's a model of such school in New York City, so we went and visited it, and we said, how do you do things, and who are the instructors, and so on and so forth. And they said, beyond the academic and the testing, how do you know that you're reaching these children who maybe are on their fourth foster experience or not? Many of them were. And they said, well, at the end of the day, we want to know that they're happy. And I said, well, that's a new measurement in the education jargon. How do you know? And they said, we ask them. We ask them, are you happier today than you were yesterday? And if they're not, we want to know why. Really, that's the story of Catholic Charities. We want to restore hope. We want to make people happier, no matter what the problem. It could be hunger. It could be a very violent situation at home. It could be emotional distress, as we've seen so many cases at Dewville College, which has very large enrollment of veterans and returning veterans from war-torn countries that are returning home with physical and emotional disabilities. And so Catholic Charities has a social worker over there now, guiding these individuals, men and women that have served their country and deserve to have that type of service available to them in addition to the academics that they will take. We also have Catholic Charities front and center at the family support centers in the public and parochial schools, available at a moment's notice for families and children and faculty, addressing in a very professional, compassionate way whatever issues they are facing and confronting with. So I said to my granddaughter, now you need to know more about that, and those are the answers to the question, that the money is going to go for those types of services to serve all types of people. And that is very, very fundamental to our Catholic faith. That's what we're all about. Our goal is 11 million. 80% of that money, as you know, comes from parishes, and the number one parish is, in fact, St. Gregory the Great. For that, we are eternally grateful, and we're trying this year to see if we can encourage new donors, people that have never given, and try to make the case, spread the word of service. That they may be giving to a service and they may never meet the customer of the service. That's okay, because our theme is to love your neighbor, whether you know the neighbor or not. So we're really very dependent on the parishes. We've spread the word to the media as best we can, radio, television, and newspaper. Today's editorial is a good one. Isn't that welcome? Good news in the newspaper. We are aware of the scandal. We will address it aggressively. Not a nickel of Catholic Charities contributions will go to resolve any of the cases. I, for one, and my colleagues in the campaign team, including Dave here, are energized. We will not and don't believe for 1 minute that we should paint the entire Catholic Church with this scandal. I know too many wonderful people in the Catholic Church, pastors and nuns and deacons and all of you, who really believe that we are in the right faith at the right time, and we should love our neighbor, and we do love our neighbor. One of the ways we do that is through Catholic Charities. When I spoke at St. Amelia's, a young lady came up to me and said, now when you're speaking, make sure you tell people that it's okay to ask for help. I said, why do you say that? And she said, well, I waited too long. I was in a very violent marriage. I was frightened. I was hurting physically and mentally. My daughter witnessed all of this, and I really didn't know where to turn. So I called Catholic Charities right away. They got me out of the situation, put me in a safe house with my daughter, made sure that the law enforcement folks were involved, and put the perpetrator away, who was now in his second year of a 20-year sentence, and she said, they helped me get housing, they helped me get to an employment and training program, and most importantly, they are providing counseling to my daughter, who struggles in school because of what she witnessed. That's one example of thousands of examples that we can share with people while we're asking them, begging them, if you will, to contribute to Catholic Charities or to continue to contribute to Catholic Charities. One of the privileges of the General Chair is to select the patron saint. And you may or may not know, but this year I selected St. Clare of Assisi. No accident that my oldest grandchild is named Clare, and that we're from County Clare in Ireland. Nonetheless, when I read about her, she was a contemporary of St. Francis of Assisi, as you know. But Clare was a real good beggar. And every time she was successful begging, she gave it away right away. She was a very pious person. She was a community builder. She was a unifier. She led an incredible life. And it's an example one life can make a difference, as well she did. 800 years ago, there are now Franciscans, which she founded, the Poor Clares, Franciscans all over the globe, doing ministry to people in great need. Lastly, I'd like to share with you the good fortune I've had in the recent 6 to 8 months working with the youth ministry here and with Father Leon's group of teenage men from 6 different high schools. We meet on Wednesday nights. One of them is on the altar now. And I'm very, very proud of all these young men. We meet, we have pizza, then we sit and we read the gospel, then we read it again, and then we talk about what does that mean. It's important that we know what the gospel means, because it's the foundation of our faith, of course. And the participation is just incredible. These are 16, 17, and 18-year-old young men, and their willingness to open up and talk and interpret what the gospel means and then talk about their own life. What I've come away from there is great, great hope. If we can depend on this generation to take over the Catholic Church, we're going to be in really, really good shape. Every single one of them know that having a strong spiritual life equals a strong life. And absent a spiritual life, you'll have too many troubles that you can't handle. On the way in this afternoon, I saw the quote from St. Lucia of Fatima. She said, there's nothing that we can't overcome without saying the rosary and praying. And I think that's going to be the case for the Catholic Church in Western New York. I'm going to fight harder and work longer than I've ever in my entire life. So I thank you very much from the depths of my soul, and I wish for you a very good day today at the parade and tomorrow for St. Joseph's Day. Vive San Josep, and God bless you and peace be with you, and thank you.